gardener. So this is, we'll start with a song anyway. I want to start with a simple song because it'll be easy to follow. We need a mridanga player. And if, big if there's anyone here who's expert on the harmonium, that will be even better. Thank you for staying back. I know it's going to be a late day for you. We won't. Well, I'll try not to go too long. Maybe not as long as was advertised. Let's see. Depends on you. Bhaktivinoda Thakur compiled many songs, many of them about the holy name directly. This one is direct, but not direct in one sense, because it deals with pretty much the overall process, including other aspects, but primarily about chanting. That's why it's called Sri Nam, the holy name, Sri Nam. And it's a beautiful bhajan by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. It's very simple. It is, however, in 2-beat. So that means if you're playing cartels, you have to play in tune, so to speak, you know. Hare Krishna. Then you're welcome to come forward if there's some cushions. I don't know if there's cushions to sit on or something. Floor may be hard, I don't know. It looks hard to me. The screen is working, correct? Okay. That's a pretty good start. Well, you see, this computer is compatible to this wire. We had a lot of trouble in Cebu in trying to get compatible. I had to transfer everything to another computer. So the idea today, at least we've requested idea today, is to discuss a little bit about japa. After all, probably of all the sadhana that we perform, Prabhupada has mentioned chanting the japa more than anything else, probably. At every initiation, many letters, Prabhupada write many times, just make sure all the devotees are chanting their 16 rounds. Hundreds, thousands of letters Prabhupada wrote that. The temple president, GBC, it's your duty to see that all the devotees are chanting their 16 rounds minimum. Prabhupada put a lot of, let's say, emphasis on that. Of course, it wasn't that everyone was chanting 16 rounds. Some were chanting 20 rounds. Prabhupada asked one devotee one time, are you chanting 16 rounds a day, every day at least? Oh, just 16. The devotee said, no, Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, what? Why not? Srila Prabhupada, I'm chanting 20 rounds. Everyone laughed. A young girl, young Brahmachari, is chanting 20. Some devotees were chanting 64. How many devotees here are chanting 64 rounds a day? Yes? Huh? He's saying yes. We'll have to put a camera on you. A camera, just to see. Huh? 64 rounds a day. Go to Seva. Back to Seva. That's real Seva to the devotee. But you have to do other services too. 64 rounds, that's quite something. Very rare in the Philippines. Very rare. This song by Sakshinanda Bhaktivinoda Thakur. It's on the screen. So just wait a little while for the harmonium, just so we get in tune. It may take me one or two, because sometimes I go too high, too low, and then you've got to readjust, and you've already adjusted to the high, and then you've got to go low. It doesn't work. Jai Guru Madhusvare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Oh Rama Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Guru Madhusvare, Jai Guru Madhusvare, Jai Guru Madhusvare, Jai Guru. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Jai Guru Madhusvare, Vihe Tako, Vanitako, Sada Hari Polidako, Vanitako, Sada Hari Polidako, Sukhe Dukhe Pulanako, Padane Hari Nam Kore, Dukhe Dukhe Pulanako, Padane Hari Nam Kore, Dukhe Dukhe Pulanako, Padane Hari Nam Kore, Dukhe Dukhe. So what does this line mean? The first line means Gai Gaur Madhusvare. The Lord Chaitanya is singing in a very sweet voice. What is he singing? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Whether you are married, living in a house, whether you are single, living in the forest, whoever you are, always chant the holy name of Krishna. Whether you're happy, whether you're distressed, always fill your lips with the holy name. Jai Guru Madhusware, Jai Guru. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Maya Jala Barahoye Chomiche Kajaloye Yajala Barahoye Chomiche Kajaloye Maya Jala Barahoye Chomiche Kajaloye Yajala Kajaloye Chomiche Kajaloye Ekana Chaitanya Peye Radha Madhav Nam Bole Ekana Chaitanya Peye Ekana Chaitanya Peye Radha Madhav Nam Bole Ekana Chaitanya Peye Radha Madhav Nam Bole. You are working in this world, toiling fruitlessly in this world of Maya. Don't forget your smartphone loves Maya. It says it right there on the card. Smart loves Maya. Download Maya, it says. Download Maya and you will get your much wanted rewards. You will get your rewards if you download Maya. Maya will download you. Right? Everyone's downloaded by Maya. Just playing their part in Maya. Captivated by her dance. Struggling in this world of Maya, in illusion. We've got this rare human life. The possibility in this life is very wonderful opportunity to realize ourselves. But unfortunately, we're not chanting the names of Radha Madhava. Ekana Chaitanya Peye Radha Madhav Nam Bole Ekana Chaitanya Peye Radha Madhav Nam Bole Jai Guru Madhusware Jai Guru Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Jivan no Hoinoshe Nabajile Rishike Jivan Hoiloshe Nabajile Rishike Makati Nodapade Ekbanam Rase Matore Nodapade Ekbanam Rase Matore Makati Nodapade Ekbanam Rase Matore Makati Nodapade Ekbanam Rase Matore. And this life, human life, may end at any moment. We have not served the Lord of our hearts, Rishikesh. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, at least once in this lifetime, relish the holy name of Krishna. Gai Gurum Madhusvare Gai Gurum Madhusvare Gai Gurum Madhusvare Gai Gurum Madhusvare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Nam ki jai. Jai Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Gaur Premanand. Now tell me if you see anything on the screen. Do you see anything on the screen? Pardon? Srila Prabhupada. What's he doing? He's got his bead bag. He's got his hand in his bead bag, is that right? Chanting. He's got the microphone in front of him, but he's still got his hand in his bead bag. Of course, he maybe just sat there chanting japa. Maybe that was the time when he recorded the japa tape, I don't know. But he's certainly got his hand in his bead bag. Bead bag is very prized possession, huh? Very valuable. We are in the stage of practicing. In this song of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he kind of takes us from the very beginning, briefly, to a more perfectional stage in this song. Can you hear me at the back? Because I don't know, it sounds a bit like kind of, I don't know what it is, a bit muffled to me. He kind of takes us from a beginning stage, you know, whatever you are, whoever you are, whatever condition you're in, chant the holy name. Anyway, somehow or another, utilize your time for chanting. And then at the end he says at least Ekona Chaitanya Paye, at least once in this life, at least once, relish the holy name of Krishna. Now, to relish the holy name of Krishna is not really something that normally is experienced in the beginning stages. It's something which comes naturally. We may feel happy when we're chanting. We hope we do. We may feel inspired when we're chanting. We hope we do. You may feel some kind of inner kind of peace when you're chanting. We hope you do. You may remember Krishna when you chant that. Really good. We hope you do. And it's all related. It's almost like a sample sometimes. And then sometimes no. Sometimes your mind is somewhere else. Huh? And you're not relishing, you're not tasting the name's presence, you're not focused. We're not tuned in to the presence of Krishna. But we keep trying. As Krishna says, we bring our minds back from wherever it wanders and try to bring it back again to the objective goal. Well, what is the objective goal? The objective goal is not simply Jai Radha Madhava. It's not simply to chant attentively. That may be our goal right now. Maybe our goal right now is simply to chant. What to speak of attentive? We're not even chanting. And then the next thing maybe to try to chant attentively or try to chant without offense. Huh? Because in the beginning stages there will be offenses. We'll hear about that in a minute. But in relationship to the last line, Ekona Chaitanya Pehe, just once in this lifetime, relish the holy name of the Lord. Huh? At least once. Not Ekona, was it? Makati Vinoda Thakur. What's that last line? I've forgotten. It just slipped my mind. Makati Vinoda Pradesh Ek Bar Namrase Mathur. Ek Bar Namrase. Ek Bar once. Namras. Relish the name. At least once. But how can we relish the name? As long as we have material attachments. Material, as long as we're attached. It doesn't mean there's nothing material comes into our mind, but we're not attached to it. There's a difference between a material desire and a material attachment. Desires may come and go, but the attachment is what's the problem. That we're attached. Let's face it, we're attached to material enjoyment, honestly speaking, of some degree or another. And that's the offensive stage of chanting the holy name. Be it what's called namabhas or namaparad, that means chanting literally with offensive mentality or trying to remove the offensive. Either way, there is still offensive mentality or impure mentality, where our heart, our consciousness is not focused. It's wavering. If we're still attached to the pictures that come into our mind or the objects outside, or our tendencies, our laziness. Most people are quite lazy. At the first opportunity, we're fast asleep. Japa. There's two things. It doesn't work with me anymore. It used to. But there's two things which help you to sleep. Chanting japa and reading Prabhupada's books. As soon as those two things come on the agenda, sleep becomes very easy. Prabhupada himself said, or Srimad the class. The class is a typical example of a wonderful way of anyone who has a problem with sleeping, just try to get them to attend a Srimad Bhagavatam class, and they'll soon overcome their, whatever it is, difficulties in sleeping, their insomnia or whatever it is. Prabhupada said that. He said, we had an expert solution for these, the Srimad Bhagavatam class. As even during Prabhupada's presence, many times at least 50% of the devotees would be sleeping during Prabhupada's class. Right in front of him. Right behind him. The Prabhupada's servant would sometimes be seen sleeping behind the Vyasasana. And sannyasis sat in the front row, heads down, dundas falling over. Things, cups of water slipping out your hands. Dong! Woke everyone up. Yeah, it was, not always, but quite often you see this. But that's not the goal. That may be one of the unfortunate challenges or situations we find in the neophyte stage. But we should at least know what our goal is. Now, even that, Ek Bar Nam Rase Mature, is not the goal, to once relish the holy name. But what it means is that the devotee has reached the stage of ruchi. Has anyone gone on Food for Life? Huh? Where did you go? Just around the corner? Pardon? Central Park in New York. Which park? Pasai. Oh, not far away. Because Tondo would take you longer than that. Little nearby. Great, fantastic. All gone? It's easy to do prasad distribution in this country, isn't it? It's not like France where you kind of got to beg people to come and take it, But in Philippines, you can do unlimited prasad distribution here. Unlimited. Yeah, it's unlimited. You could do 10,000 easily in a day, if you had enough hands and enough prasadam. Great place for prasad distribution. Fantastic. So, where were we just before prasadam came up? Where were we? Huh? Sleeping sannyasi. Well, we went on from the sleeping sannyasi. Oh, we went to Namras. So this is indicative that the devotee has reached the stage of ruchi. Nam ruchi, namras. That they're actually relishing. They're not just getting a little bit of, relief, a little bit of peace, a little bit of, joy. At least once relish the holy name of the Lord. Relish is not just a material sensation. It's a stage beyond anartha. So at least come to that stage. And right now we have all the rules and regulations which are there and required to help us to come to that stage. A methodology. Because prior to, there are different stages in devotional service, as many of you are aware. I think most of us in this room today are chanting japa. If you're not, please try it and see. Take it up. And this stage is called, what is the stage called? Who knows? Where we're trying to chant, we're trying to serve, we're practicing. Bhajana Kriya. bhajana kriya. Yeah, we're practical service, practical devotional endeavor. And in that stage there will be offenses. We're not steady, we're unsteady. There's two stages in bhajana kriya. The first is anishtita bhajana kriya, it means unsteady practice. And most of us are in that stage. We're a very neophyte stage. Anishtita means unsteady. Nishta means steady. So anishtita means unsteady. So unsteady, sometimes up, sometimes down, sometimes enthusiastic, sometimes not. Sometimes follow, sometimes don't. Isn't it? Ups and downs. Very much affected by the circumstances. Our faith is not so strong. Our knowledge is not so great. We're not so convinced. But the second part of bhajana kriya is when we feel we want to move forward and we're becoming more convinced. So it becomes nishta bhajana kriya. Now that stage traditionally is when one takes initiation from a spiritual master. And then your sadhana, your practice is meant to become steady. Unbroken, huh? Minimum 16 rounds a day, 4 regs, and so on, you name it. Whatever is the sadhana given. It will vary according to one spiritual master, another, one time and place and circumstance. So that's the principle. Become steady in one's sadhana. Spiritual master may increase the sadhana. It doesn't just think that's enough for everything necessarily. It may be, but it may not be. It may be a stepping stone to increasing. Once you've settled yourself on 4 a day, 8 a day, 16 a day, 24 a day, 32 a day, 64 a day, 108, whatever it is, rounds a day like that. Spiritual master may or may not do that, or he may just ask the disciples to do service. But steadiness, regulation. And that comes then to the stage of anartha nivritti. When our bhajana kriya becomes nishta, then anarthas become, they're already started, but the, let's say the, under the surface anarthas are not being removed by unsteady bhajana kriya much. But when our bhajana kriya practices become very steady, Hare Krishna, and regulated, as we know from Bhagavatam, nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya. By regularly hearing and chanting, all the dirty things are removed from the heart. It means constant. Kinvadaradhanudinam Rupa Goswami, it says regularly, but actually it means all the time. When we're engaged in sadhana, regular, steady, then gradually the anarthas and the roots of the anarthas are removed. Not just on the surface, but the tendency for material endeavor is removed. The tendency to see things from a self-centered material angle is reduced. And when it comes to the steady stage of nishta, real nishta, without any anartha, and even if material desires come along, you're not interested, right? Is that right? We have no interest in those material desires at all. Excuse me, I got a sore throat. So different angles of nishta, but that's one of them. The material desire may come along, the anartha, because we're conditioned from lifetimes, may appear before us, but you're not interested in it. You spit at the thought, as Jivanacharya, one of our great acharyas or teachers say. Ugh, what a horrible thought. It's interfering in my service. We're not on this platform of, Bhava Bhakti or pure, or Prema, what to speak of, Prema. We're not even on the Shakti stage, We're on the Nishtha stage, but we're convinced. And at that stage, actually, our devotion may start to flow in a spontaneous way towards Krishna instead of for another purpose. The purpose being to purify our hearts, the purpose being to, control our minds, the purpose may be so we can stay in the temple, the purpose may be, to fulfill our vow, the purpose may be otherwise I won't get breakfast, the purpose may be manifold. To show off, it may have many reasons. And maybe some more positive ones that we really sincerely want to advance in Krishna consciousness. This is the methodology, so I better chant carefully. We'll get on to that in a minute. But then at the Nishta stage, because one's devotional service is no longer interfered with. It's no longer any interference. You know, when you can't go away with those material desires, Prabhupada describes it like being an elephant that bathes in the water, then rolls in the mud again. Huh? It takes a nice bath, and it's kind of feeling very kind of clean and clear, and then immediately throws dust or dirt all over itself again. Just like that. You know, we clear our conscience a little bit, and wow, whew, and then suddenly a material desire goes along, and whoo, off we go. And the consciousness is clouded over again. Or we associate with somebody who's really not good association. Or something. I think this is probably the biggest distraction nowadays. Probably, isn't it? Man's best friend. Man's best friend, is that right? And women's best friend too. And kids' best friend also. Even old people's best friend nowadays. Isn't it? See, people are so almost dead, they've still got their mobile in their hands, like me. You can't go an inch without your mobile, even if you're chanting japa. Your mobile's there, right next to you. You can't chant without your mobile. Whatever it is, you know, texting, looking at your messages, while you're chanting japa, I do it. It's a great disease. Terrible. Or on the internet, if you're old-fashioned. Whatever. So these are sure signs that we're not on the spontaneous platform, or to speak of any higher platforms. We're not even on the Nishta platform. We're still struggling in the Bhajana Kriya stage somewhere. So we do want to rise up, otherwise it's a constant struggle. We spend all of our time struggling with struggles. Everyone's struggling with struggles. Either you've got struggles, or you've got to struggle with people who've got struggles, who then struggle with others who've got struggles. We're all struggling. You want to go forward, you know, really. I mean, this is a science. It's not just, you know, another group, another bit of fun, another movement. It's not. This is to elevate us, you, every one of us, spirit souls. Doesn't matter where you're from or what you are materially. Every living entity to the pure platform of pure devotional service. And everyone can come to that platform. It's nothing to do with our education. It's nothing to do with our birth. It may affect us, but it's not dependent on that at all. Even our karma, it may be difficult. That means if you try, you get even more mercy. So when one comes to that stage, then one may actually begin to actually relish. This is called ruchi, haribol. A real taste in the association of the holy name. We won't go any further today with that aspect. We're going to carry on now with a little presentation. Is that okay? Here's another picture of Prabhupada chanting with his hand in his bead bag. I think that's in Mumbai, I believe. On the roof of the old ashram they had there. Japa. And I did this last night, during the night, so I didn't really have enough time to finish it. Today I just couldn't get round to it. So it's not in organized order very much, to be honest. But the points are still there. We'll be going backwards and forwards a little bit. Let's see how it goes. So this is just a famous purport of Srila Prabhupada in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And I say this wouldn't have been the first slide, but it happened to be the one I put there and haven't edited it yet. It is essential, however, that everyone fulfill a specific vow to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Therefore, we have prescribed in our society that all of our students must chant at least 16 rounds daily. Such chanting must be offenseless in order to be of high quality. Mechanical chanting is not as powerful as chanting of the holy name without offenses. This kind of covers, to some extent, the subject today in little stanzas, sutras. First, the one speaks for itself, that everyone fulfill a particular number of rounds a day. Nectar Devotion says, stick with whatever you set. set a number and don't go down. That's the point. We can go up. Therefore, we have prescribed 16. You know, Prabhupada said 64 in the beginning, so think yourself lucky. Only back to Seva might maybe Mahendra Prabhu, you're doing 64 rounds? Not yet. So back to Seva, we're gonna measure him tomorrow. We're gonna have one of these things that measure people. You know, put one of these things on him tomorrow. Counter him. And otherwise, most of us have probably never done it in our lives. How many of you have chanted 64 rounds in one day, or more than one day, so to speak? You did? Wow. Huh? Specific day. Great. Your birthday? Very specific. I have many Ekadashis there. So some of you have chanted on one day. I thought you did it in Braj when Bhakti Bhagavat Swami came with us. Huh? Hari Kirtan made it? We were all supposed to chant 64 rounds that day in Braj. Bhakti Bhagavatam Swami. So some of you have done. And sometimes it's like, mechanical, isn't it, sometimes? You're not really, you're just trying to fulfill the vow. But still you feel purified afterwards, even though you may be tired, you may have a headache, And others, it's like, it becomes easier. It depends on what stage we're at. But to increase is the actual purpose. The Prabhupada said 64, but then he brought it down to 16 minimum. For initiation, at least. 16 minimum. So we should stick with that. At least, and then try to move up. Don't try to minimize. Such chanting must be offenseless. And this is, in the sense of bhajana kriya, to come from the offensive to the offenseless stage. When anarthas are no longer there. It's only the beginning, really, of, you could say, pure chanting of the holy name. Chanting with devotion, real devotion. We're chanting with dedication, we're chanting with faith, we're chanting with endeavor, we're chanting with sincerity. Hopefully all those things. But we're still, it's interspersed with distractions, laziness, inattention and so on. And not just laziness meaning just can't be bothered. You're just kind of like, don't see the urge. And then there's the mind takes us away. And then there's objects around us that take us away too, isn't it? Other people, we start getting into what they're doing, or then we start thinking about what they're doing. We might say something about, this is not to be done. If we want to advance in Krishna consciousness, in chanting. So the different stages are there, but to come to that stage of nishta, steady devotional service, we have to try to avoid all these things. Without offense. Mechanical chanting, Prabhupada likens mechanical chanting here to be inattentive chanting. And inattentive chanting, we're not making any effort to be attentive, and it's quite often the case we make no effort. I don't know if you've experienced that. We make no real effort, it's just kind of real mechanical. Yes. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If you're lucky, you're pronouncing the words. Usually we're not. Or we're not saying all of them. So it's usually very mechanical and it just goes on. Sometimes you don't know if you finish your rounds or not. Because your mind has been somewhere else most of the time. It does take a little effort. So we'll be looking at that later on. Because Nishta, chanting in the stage of Nishta, although there may be traces of material desire or offensive desire, one has no interest in it. It's not something where we condemn it, we're not interested. We're not chanting with an offensive intention, or we're not attached to those desires that come into the mind, distractions of various kinds. We're not attached, we're not into it, we don't want it. So in one sense one's in Nishta stage of devotional service, and one's chanting, although in one sense it's not pure, One's chanting, as Prabhupada just said in Bhagavad Gita just now, one's considered to be in the liberated condition. Iha yasya haredasya kamra manasa giram. One is considered in a liberated condition because one is on the boat of liberation. One is beyond the narc. The boat will not sink as long as we stay on that platform. It will not sink. So we're in a kind of liberated condition. In one sense, that's the beginning, real beginning of Shuddhanam, pure chanting of the holy name of Krishna. We'll go on to the next slide. Prabhukai Vaishnav Seva Nama Sankirtan Dui Kara Shri Guru Pavi Shri Krishna Charan. The Lord replied, he's being asked what's the main duty of a devotee, and he said you should engage yourself in the servants of Krishna and always chant the name of Krishna. If you do these two things, you will very soon attain shelter at Krishna's lotus feet. Pretty simple, huh? Sounds easier. Sounds so easy. Just serve the devotees, huh? And always chant the holy name. What is the difficulty? Same thing, isn't it? We're holding on to material desire, material tendencies. We're keeping bad association on different levels and so on. And we have no taste for chanting. We're not at that platform where our faith is unflinching. And no matter taste or no taste, whatever we feel like, we're going to chant. We chant. In the association of devotees, that becomes easier. Krishna Das Kaviraj, and this is preliminary also, famous quote. He said, raising my hands, I declare, everyone please hear me. String this verse on the thread of the holy name and wear it on your neck for continuous remembrance. What is that verse? Who knows the verse? Trinadapi sunischena karodapi sunishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniyak sadhari. One who thinks himself lower than the grass, who is more tolerant than a tree, and who does not expect personal honor, but is always prepared to give all respect to others, can very easily and always chant the holy name of the Lord. Now this verse is hopefully most of you are familiar with this, is an essential verse if we want to progress in Krishna consciousness, whether chanting or other services. The attitude. It's the attitude that counts. One time Srila Prabhupada was asked in Nairobi, on a morning walk or something like that, what about the quality in chanting, Prabhupada? What about the quality? He's asking about the quality. One guest was asking about the quality. The quantity is one thing, the quality is another. He's asking, what about the quality? And Prabhupada said, quality, you'll come to the quality when you come to the quality. It's not like, you rubber stamp quality. Materially you may say, the test or whatever they call quality checker. Well, the quality Prabhupada said is love. It's not a question of attentive chanting, it's not a question of numerical chanting, it's not a question of pronunciation, it's not a question of this, that, the other. It's a question of one's attitude. And the real quality in chanting is that with love. That's on the highest level, isn't it? Taste is one thing, love is even more. But that's our goal. We should try to keep our goal in mind. The goal is not just to cleanse the heart. The goal is not just to spread the Sankirtan movement. The goal is not just to feel good or become free of karma. That's not the goal. They may take place at different stages, free of material desire. These things may take, but that's not the goal. The goal is love of Krishna. Through chanting the holy name properly, gradually one progresses towards the goal. It does take time. The stage of Bhajana Kriya and consequently Anartha Nivritti can be a very long stage. We'll see that in a minute. So offences, and we all have heard, I'm not going to get into the 10 offences, but you've all heard these offences. We should also remember, and as I said, I haven't put them into proper order yet, that we cannot possibly learn to chant if we do not offer. Now this is not really meant to be here, this is coming later, whether I should go back to it or not. I think I'll go back to it later on. Of the 9 processes of devotional service, the most important is to always chant the holy name of the Lord. If one does so, avoiding the 10 kinds of offenses, one very easily obtains the most valuable gift of love of Godhead. Avoiding the 10 kinds of offenses. I'll leave it to you to look them up, to see for ourselves where we fit in, where we stand. They're actually normally in the scriptures, at least, inattentive chanting is included in the 10 offenses. For pramada. Pramada means inattentive, basically. So it is an offense to be inattentive. And this verse, famous verse, Bahujan Makari Adi Shravana Kirtana, Tabutana Paya Krishna, Padi Prema Dana. Many temples chant that every day after Mangalarti, before they chant the 10 offenses. If one is infested with the 10 offenses in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, despite his endeavour to chant the holy name for many births, he will not get love of Godhead. That is the ultimate goal of this chanting. We won't get it. See, again here, the ultimate goal is love of God. It's not all these other secondary or subsidiary objectives or results, but the goal is wholly and solely to awaken our love of God. Something nice to look forward to. But we've got to go through the stages. You can't jump over there. We've got to go through the process to reach that stage. And if one chants the exalted holy name of the Lord again and again, and yet his love for the Supreme Lord does not develop, and tears do not appear in his eyes, it is evident that because of his offences in chanting, the seed of the holy name of Krishna does not sprout. It's a seed which is planted in the heart, but it won't sprout as long as there are offences in our consciousness. The seed won't sprout. Just like if you flood the earth, then the seeds don't grow. Or if there's no sun, they need water, but not too much water, then they will grow. So our Bhakti Lata Bij, our devotional creeper, will not grow as long as we're chanting offensively, and we are chanting offensively. Every one of us, to some degree or another. Be it inattention, be it ill feelings towards other devotees, be it attachments to various material objects, be it feeling blasphemous towards somebody or another, or even towards the scriptures sometimes, thinking this is all imagination, preaching to the faithless, that's a fine line one, and so on. Committing sinful activities which we may be doing on the strength of chanting the holy name. We've taken our vows. Sometimes you think, oh, what to do? I'll just Hare Krishna and become free of the reaction. That's offensive. And a few others. Certainly there's not genuine tears coming to our eyes, that's for sure. It is evident that because of his offences in chanting, the seed of the holy name of Krishna does not sprout. But if one only chants with some slight faith the holy name of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, very quickly he is cleansed of all offences. Special mercy of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda. We'll come on to that later. Very quickly. Thus, as soon as he chants the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, he feels the ecstasy of love of Godhead. This is the secret. It wasn't meant to come up here. This is one of the big secrets in chanting the holy name, is the mercy of Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya. Eka Krishna Nami Kari Sarva Papanash Premara Karana Bhakti Karina Prakash. Simply chanting the Hare Krishna mantra without offences vanquishes all sinful activities. Heart is cleansed of them all. Thus pure devotional service, which is the cause. Again, pure devotional service is not the goal. That is the cause of love of Godhead. But it becomes manifest. Pure devotional service begins when our chanting is without offense. Otherwise it's mixed. It's also devotional service, but it's not pure. Because it's done under the direction of a pure devotee, it's also accepted as devotional service. But ultimately it has to become pure to enter the kingdom of God. Full benefit. Now these are some, you could say, comments from here and there. Full benefit is not acquired simply by avoiding the 10 aparas or offences. These 10 offences have their distinctive features in being warned to avoid them. One is actually being warned to avoid them, one is actually being ordered to positively implement the specific saintly qualities that render these aparas impossible. Therefore, one must not criticize but glorify the saintly devotees. If you're glorifying them, how can you criticize them? I remember in Malaysia we had one devotee, Ram Shram Prabhu, our temple president for a while. He, when anyone would come along with a criticism of the devotee, Ram Shram Prabhu, this devotee is doing da. Ram Shram Prabhu, oh, that so-and-so devotee, he's such a wonderful devotee. Yesterday, do you know what, yesterday he cleaned all the pots. You know, he was so good. He got up at 2:30 in the morning, he was cleaned the temple before morning. He's such a wonderful devotee. He replied to them like that. Really? Usually when someone comes up to us, have you heard about so-and-so? Who? So-and-so. Really? What happened? Well, maybe I shouldn't tell you. No, come on, it's all right. Tell me. I need to know. Oh, you're kind of like exciting to hear the problems or the misdeeds of another devotee. Sometimes it's like that. This is also a reflection of criticism. So be careful. Vaishnava doesn't like to hear about the negativities of others. Because it does no good talking about it. It doesn't help you, them, or anyone else. So being positive, just like, if my right hand's holding a cup of water, it can't hold a cup of beer at the same time. So you fill your cup with water, you can't put anything else in it. So when we're fully engaged in glorifying the Vaishnavas, there's no room to criticize them and find fault. Therefore, one must not criticize. Worship Krishna as the supreme absolute truth. Realize the excellence. So that's the second one. Instead of, considering Krishna one of the gods, we worship Krishna as supreme absolute truth. Realize the excellence of the Guru who initiates one into the holy name. And you have to see for yourself. Comprehend the preeminence of the scriptures and that reveal the glories of the holy name. This is interesting. All the various offences against the holy name are emphasized here in relationship to not just the scriptures, but the scriptures that glorify the holy name or explain the holy name. Root out and destroy the desire to commit sins. Know within the heart that the holy name is eternally situated in pure transcendence. Preach the glories of the holy name to the faithful. Give up ritualistic, pious activities entirely, and surrendering fully to the holy name, chant without delusion. In other words, chant attentively. If one is sufficiently greedy for obtaining pure devotion, he will chant free from the 10 offences. Isn't it amazing? If we want something in the material world, we'll give up so many things. We'll work so hard for it. Many of you young boys and girls here have worked for years studying to get a degree or to get a position of some kind, all of which is just temporary and not satisfying either. Yet here we have a chance to develop, to get love of God. But to follow the process leading to it is not easy. We're not so serious, not so fortunate in one sense. One has to be greedy for obtaining pure devotion. Then he will chant free from the 10 offences. Otherwise he won't. There'll be no urge. The urge from the material things might be there, but not the urge for pure devotion, or the urge to chant free of offence. He must diligently avoid each of the offences with feelings of deep repentance. Very important word in spiritual life. In a Christian liturgy, the word repent is not so deep. It can be, but it's generally not. It's almost like just verbal. There's not necessarily a repentance about one's heart, about the condition of the heart, and praying for the change of heart, the change of attitude. He should pray sincerely at the lotus feet of the holy name and chant with determination. Prabhupada said that on several occasions. Pray and endeavor. But prayer must be there if we really want to advance. Only then will he be blessed with the mercy of the holy name, which will destroy all of his offenses. No other activity or penance can possibly exculpate or remove his offenses. None. Only this chanting of the holy name, with great desire to advance. Otherwise it takes a long time. Makati Shravana Kirtana. As long as the offenses are there, you can chant for a long time. You won't get love of God. So being free of the offenses is also pretty important. So actually, when we chant Hare Krishna mantra, I like this one. This is from a lecture in 72 by Prabhupada. We directly associate with Krishna. Directly. Because name is the incarnation of Krishna, Namarupe Krishna Avatar. Therefore, if we are sensible, then we should take very much respectful attitude to the name. So, in the beginning, the attitude should be respect. Just like if someone comes to see us, I was mentioning earlier on about someone who's not listening to us, you don't want to carry on talking to them. They're not interested. And you can see there's no reciprocation there. There's no respect there on their part. So similarly with the holy name, take much respectful attitude. In other words, respectful. Krishna's there. Now, if the I don't know who the most popular person in the Philippines is right now. Who's the most popular person? Anyone know? Pardon? Getting different, Most popular person, we have the vote. We have the vote and see the most popular person is. Mahendra, who's the most popular person right now?
I know it's the president. It's the same. He's popular to most and unpopular to those who is against him.
Unlike the Goswamis, they were friends both to the gentle and the ruffians. But somebody has said, say that person, whoever it is, were to come into this room right now, walk into this room right now, what would you do? What would you do? Run away? Maybe run away. What would we do? If the President of the United States were to walk in here right now, what would we do? The President of India, the King of England, what would we do? Take prasadam. Good. Just say, I'm sorry, I'm busy, I can't see you now. I'm taking prasadam. Oh, the King of England's come, Prabhu. Tell him to go away and come back in 20 minutes. I'm taking prasad. Right? Would you do that? Probably not. President, the Prime Minister, the King. Immediately you run there, you show it. You're a big person, we go like this, materially. Blessings, as if they're going to give us any blessings. Respect is there at least. So the word respect is mentioned here. Respectful we shall be. You have to be respectful. So similarly, when we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we should know Krishna is there. Therefore, we should be very much cautious and respectful and not neglectful. Krishna's with you. He's with us. It's not like just the name of Krishna, which we're chanting to get Krishna. In one sense, we can see it like that, but that's not the reality. Krishna is personally present there. Whether he reveals himself, whether we feel his presence, is another thing. But he's personally present. Therefore, we should be very much cautious and respectful, not neglectful. If we're neglectful, that's an offense. Notice if you ignore him, if you ignore the name, Krishna's there. As a great person comes to us, he's the greatest person, not just Krishna alone. He's with Radharani. It's Radha and Krishna together, along with our associates. Just imagine the association we've got. Everyone looking for association, we say, the best association, we need association to advance in Krishna consciousness, right? But here you've got the best association, Radha and Krishna. What have we done to deserve this? What have we done to deserve it? Some of us just a few months before were taking drugs. Right? Some. And suddenly you're associating with God and Radharani? Huh? It's ridiculous. That's the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. If you become inattentive, that is offense. This is a personal movement. It's not mechanical. It's not impersonal. It's not material. It's a spiritually personal movement. To develop our love for God, the seed of love of God, to cultivate that seed. You should know this. Try to avoid. Krishna is giving us a chance to meet Him in so many ways. Nama, Rup, Lila, Parikar, Vashisht. He is giving us chance in the form of name, in the form of deity, in the form of His pastimes, in the form of His paraphernalia, just like this Vrindavan. Not even necessarily the spiritual realm, but the Krishna's come here to give us His association. We have to take it. If we don't want to associate with Him here, how on earth are we going to associate with Him in the spiritual world? No way, we're not going to be able to go there. The whole thing is that we Krishna consciousness. Spiritual world means Krishna's right in the center. So you have to practice just that, putting Krishna in the center, not everything else. Inattentiveness, I think this is from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Inattentiveness and negligence are synonymous. That means they're basically the same thing. Negligent chanting, that means inattentive chanting, sows the seeds of anartha. Just see. The seeds of anartha. And when anartha means material desire, unwanted desires unfavorable for Krishna consciousness. It sows those seeds, inattentive chanting. The seeds are there, but they won't grow unless they're sown. They remain locked up. But inattentive chanting sows the seeds. Pretty far out. Huh? And we wonder why. And then it goes like it's a spiral, isn't it? You're inattentive, and the material desires come, and then because you were focused on material desires, you're inattentive. It goes like, and devotional service is the same, but the opposite direction. Negligent chanting sows the seeds of anarthas which soon fructify or grow. Inattentiveness is of three kinds. One is called odasina, apathetic devotional service. This means apathetic, not really careless, not interested. A lack of fixed resolve. It's not steady, you can't be not steady at all, unsteady. The second type is judgment, laziness, or even inertia. You can't be bothered, you're just too tired. Many times we're inflicted with tiredness during japa. And the third type, judgment, laziness. The third kind is vikshepa. Now this third type, vikshepa means distraction or misplacing one's attention in engagements not directly connected with sadhana bhakti. Thinking of sadhana bhakti, thinking of the holy places, thinking of deities, thinking of verses, this is not, you could say, the best focus, but it's not exactly the same as this. At least we're trying to keep Krishna in the picture. It's not the best, but we're trying to. Pramada means madness, but here the meaning is inattention or carelessness. It is from this offense that all other offenses spring. There's another one. From inattentive chanting, all other, not only does it sow the seeds of anartha, but other offences spring from this offence. And a spring, bounce out. You open, the Jack in the Box or something. I remember we used to, in Malaysia, at one time the Sanctum devotees were distributing these little boxes. And on the top it said, cobra eggs. Selling cobra eggs. Cobras don't lay eggs, by the way. But anyway, most people don't know that. Cobra eggs. If you were curious, what's this cobra egg? And they'd buy it, a little wooden box with cobra eggs. Inside was something else. And they would get the box and say, have a look inside if you don't believe it. They open the box and pew! There's a spring, it boom, shoots out. That's for the cobra, little cobra. He was scared. Cobra eggs. The egg had hatched. So it springs. It's from this offence that all of the offences spring. Nama parada yuktanam namanyeva haranchigam avishranti prayuktani tanyeva chakarani cha. The chanting of Hare Krishna is recommended for persons who commit offences. Now, another angle here. Because if they continue chanting, they will gradually chant offencelessly. Even if in the beginning one chants the Hare Krishna mantra with offences, one will become free from his offence. Free of offences by chanting again and again. Prabhupada said that many times. If we're offensive, chant more. You can say stop chanting. Some devotees say stop chanting. Better chant one attentive round rather than 16 inattentive. Prabhupada never said that. Said both, of course, in terms of you should chant minimum 16 and attentive. But never better chant one round and not bother with 16. Never. He always wanted that. So, one should be careful to eliminate the third type of inattention, distraction. From distraction, all types of inattention are born. This fault resides in attraction for women or men in the case of women, and wealth, attraction for material success, victory, desire for position, cheating propensity. If one has attraction in any of these categories, one will naturally be inattentive to the holy name. One should be careful to eliminate these fixations by following the proper Vaishnava behavior. There's another aspect which we don't take so seriously, but Vaishnava behavior, etiquette, is very important to help us to get free of these distractions. On Ekadashis and appearance days, one should stop thinking of eating and all day and night chant in the association of devotees. Prabhupada never applied this. He never did it himself, at least not as long as ISKCON was created. And you don't see it mentioned much. But this is the process. We take advantage of these holy names, holy days rather, to focus on hearing and chanting as much as we can. And minimize eating and sleeping. I would never pushed it for us, knowing our fallen condition. Gradually the bhakti portion of one's mind will increase, and the mind will rejoice in hearing topics about Krishna. The higher taste will come and the lower taste will go. Upon hearing songs about Krishna from the mouths of the pure devotees, one's mind and ears will taste the real nectar. In this way the desire for low material objects will disappear, and the heart will be constantly fixed and attracted to singing the name. By avoiding the offences of distraction, one will be able to indulge in the nectar of the name. So inattentive chanting is the biggest barrier that we face practically. Aparada vimukto hinam nijaptum sadachar nimanaiva tavateva nimaiva tavateva she sarvam setchati nanyata. Sanatan Kumar said, O Devarshinarda, the proper way to chant the holy name is to always avoid the 10 offences. There is no need of any other process of spiritual elevation other than chanting the holy name, for the holy name alone can award one the highest perfection. Because it's Krishna himself. Nama Chintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa. And there's a typical devotee chanting japa. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Sometimes even more. That's quite a simple devotee. Sometimes they're doing three, maybe you have the mobile on the phone at the same time. And one ear the mobile, stirring a pot with the other and watching the TV all at the same time and supposed to be chanting japa. I've got a picture of one devotee, not on this one. He's got the mobile like this. No, like this. And his mobile's up there on his ear, and he's got his bead bag here with a spoon in there, stirring the pot of sabji. Yes. Multitask. But it's not the process. That's not the process. Anyway, it's so common. Or late night at night, this is probably 11 o'clock at night, watching television and finishing off those 16 rounds. Attentive rounds, right? Yeah, sure. Jai Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. So, what to do to come to that stage? We've already got it. There are offences to be avoided in considered in chanting Hare Krishna, but there are no such considerations in chanting the names of Gaur Nityananda. Therefore, when chants the Hare Krishna mantra, but his life is still full of sinful activities, it will be very difficult for him to achieve the platform of loving service to the Lord. But if, in spite of being an offender, one chants the holy name of Gaur Nityananda, he is very quickly freed from the reactions of offences. I think we read that already. Chanting the holy name is the chief means of attaining love of Godhead. The chanting of devotional service does not depend on any paraphernalia, nor on one's having taken birth in a good family. By humility and meekness one attracts the attention of Krishna. That is the verdict of all Vedas. Therefore, if one becomes very humble and meek, he can easily attain the lotus feet of Krishna in this age of Kali. That is the fulfillment of all great sacrifices, penances and austerities, because when one achieves the ecstatic love of God, he attains the complete perfection of life. Therefore, whatever one does in executing devotional service must be accompanied by the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Doesn't say should, but must. If, that is, going to attain complete perfection. We don't just chant. Another angle of mechanical chanting is we just 16 rounds, baths. Finished. That's it. Next day you're looking where your bag, can't remember where it is. Thank God I finished 16 rounds, some people would say. Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj used to some remark in this connection that if one takes shelter of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda, follows their instructions to become more tolerant than a tree and humbler than the grass, and in this way chants the holy name of the Lord, very soon he achieves the platform of transcendental loving service to the Lord, and tears appear in his eyes. There are offences to be considered in chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, but there are no such considerations in chanting the names of Gaur Nityananda. Therefore, when chants the Hare Krishna mantra, but his life is still full of sinful activities, it will be very difficult for him to achieve the platform of loving service to the Lord. If the living entity sincerely chants the name of Gaur Nityananda, considering these personalities supreme, all of his anarthas will be destroyed, even if he is full of anarthas. So important is Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda in our devotional lives. We should not undermine them. They are basically the whole reason, they're the only way to go back to Godhead, by their mercy. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. But if in spite of being an offender one chants the holy name of Gaur Nityananda, he's very quickly freed from offences. And we've read more or less several similar things. Jai Gaur Nitai Ki Jai. So taking shelter of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, the Panchatattva before we chant is very important. And at any time comes to that. meditating upon them, praying for their mercy. When chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra in the beginning, one may commit many offences, which are called namabhas and namaparad. In this stage there is no possibility of achieving perfect love of Krishna by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Therefore one must chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra according to the principles of the above verse. Another piece in the Shina. One should note in this connection that chanting involves, and a very practical one here, chanting involves the activities of the upper and lower lips as well as the tongue. All three must be engaged in chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. The lips, upper and lower, and the tongue. Sometimes one mechanically produces a hissing sound. A hissing sound. The words Hare and Krishna, should be very distinctly pronounced and heard. Sometimes one mechanically produces a hissing sound instead of chanting with the proper pronunciation. With the help of the lips and the tongue. Chanting is very simple, but one must persevere at it seriously. It must be serious. If one is sufficiently greedy for obtaining pure devotion, he will chant free from the 10 offences. He must diligently avoid each of the offences with feelings of deep repentance. Now, this is another point. It's not just a mechanical thing. It has to be within the heart. We must be repentant. I mean, we really are sorry that we're still committing offences. We're praying to be freed of this. We're sick of it for having ever committed them. He should pray sincerely at the lotus feet of the holy name, chant with determination. Only then will he be blessed with the mercy of the holy name, which will destroy all of his offences. For Anuttapa, when his feeling of intense repentance and like a burning feeling of disgust, it cleanses away these tendencies. No other activity or penance can possibly exculpate his offences or remove them. Chanting japa, that's some instructions from Prabhupada. This is the Radha Ballabha in Cebu. Is that Radha Ballabha in Cebu? Is also him. Chanting japa should be done early in the morning with full concentration. Preferably during the Brahma Muhurta. This is some practical tip. Preferably during the Brahma Muhurta time. When is the Brahma Muhurta time? Before sunrise, an hour or two before sunrise. That's the best time recommended here. Concentrate fully on the sound vibration of the mantra, pronouncing each word or each name distinctly. Gradually your speed in chanting will increase naturally. Do not worry so much about chanting fast. Most important is the hearing. A devotee should always be grave and silent, which means that he only discusses topics relating to Krishna consciousness. Yes, spend your time chanting and reading and taking Krishna prasadam, and automatically your tongue will come under your control. If you sincerely engage 24 hours daily in devotional service, according to the instruction of the spiritual master, chant daily 16 rounds, attend the arti, ceremony of Lord Krishna, associate with the devotees, and adhere strictly to the regulated principles, then Krishna will reveal himself personally to you. So nice, huh? The process. This is the process. By the grace of Lord Chaitanya. So interesting, I dropped in the beginning. There he says, do not worry so much about chanting fast. Most important is the hearing. Try to hear each word. There are different techniques for this. Mahendra Prabhu was just telling a technique which he's found useful. This is in a mechanical stage, but we're at that stage right now. To try to become more attentive, to become more diligent, to become more respectful, to become more sincere, and so on. So his method involves breathing, right? Breathing? Is that right? He says, You have to breathe while you chant. Did you know you're allowed to breathe while you chant your 16 rounds? No, I'm really speaking, you shouldn't breathe, because you should chant constantly. There's no time for breathing. When you start your first round, you take a deep breath until you finish 16 rounds, you don't breathe again. Is that right? Is that how it works? Well, you're only allowed to breathe once. You haven't got time to breathe twice. You'll come to that one day. It will be your last breath. You know, Prabhupada said that one time. He said you should chant as if this is your last breath. Think about it. This is my last breath. Better chant seriously, huh? As your last breath. No, you can breathe while you chant. You're allowed to breathe. Are you allowed to do anything else while you chant?
When you breathe deep, then you're breathing out in the Maha Mantra, you won't feel...
Try it yourself. Come on, everyone try. Come on, wake up for a few minutes before we finish. Before we fall asleep. I'm falling asleep. I have to excuse me. It's been quite an interesting period of time right now with sleep. A deep breath. Very deep. Okay. What do you do next? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. I can only reach 2.5 myself before another breath required. Maybe I'm tired. I think Mahendra, you can do 6 or 7 within one breath. He's more advanced than me. Maybe 2.5. It's a technique. We're not here to breathe or to concentrate on the breathing, but it may help you to chant. Sit with your back straight is even better when you chant. It's a little difficult to fall asleep when you're doing like that. It's possible, but it's more difficult. Of course, you don't spend 10 minutes breathing in. You're doing pranayama or something. Sometimes you can go on for about 30, 40 seconds just breathing in or breathing out. No, just to facilitate our attention while chanting. That's one technique which some devotees use. There's another technique which is practical in the practicing stage. And this is very, very much publicized, or propagated by most of the senior devotees actually. Preaching to the mind, and we mentioned that one earlier at the very beginning of the first session. And that was, mind, let us just chant. It's not too difficult, mind. 1 round and listen, will you? Just listen to one. Have you ever had that experience with a young child? Just sit down quietly, will you? Okay, like last night we were in a hotel. We had to stay next to the airport because we had an early morning flight, and we were like 3 hours from the airport. And we had to drive all night otherwise. So next door neighbours were having a bit of a party. We were in the hotel. The walls are thin, and they were playing music and making a lot of noise, right? And poor old Ekanath Prabhu on the door, on the wall, not the door, like this. They go silent for about 30 seconds, then start up again after 30 seconds. He'd knock on the wall. They go silent again and start up again. And they start up again. And then he fell asleep. And they're still going on. Then they turn the music on. They turn the loud, the whatever, rock music or whatever. You were asleep, you couldn't hear it. I was not asleep. So eventually I thought, that's not working. So I went next door to where they were and banged on their door. Bang, bang, bang. Silence. No one came to the door. I banged again. Silence. I banged again. No one came to the door. I got the message and it was silent for the rest of the night. Sometimes you have to hammer a little hard. Mind is crazy. It stops for a few seconds, but it starts up again real quick. Like a baby, huh? Or a young child. Sit down quietly. After about 20 seconds it flips out, huh? Right? It doesn't stay still for long. It can't. It's just controlled by its mind. There's no intelligence in place. Our mind is carried away by the intelligence. We forget what we're doing. We forget the point. We forget the process. We forget who we're with. We forget what we're doing. We get carried away. Yet even while chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one may observe regulated principles. Thus, while sitting and chanting, one may keep his body straight. And this will help one in the chanting process. Otherwise, one may feel very sleepy. You have to see what works. There's many things, and you have to see what works. So this technique of just concentrating on one mantra, not setting a high goal. You know, somebody set a very high goal, you can't reach it, and you get disheartened. Oh, I'm wasting my time. But just one mantra. If you can listen to one mantra, let's try it. Come on. Are you ready? All together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram 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 Hare. Did you hear it nicely? Hare Krishna, Ram 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 Ram. Hare Krishna, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. You heard it nicely? You heard it, but is it right? No. So going back to what Prabhupada said, pronounce each word. Lips up, down, tongue, everything. Sit straight, breathe deep. Okay? What else are you supposed to do? Huh? Don't fall asleep. And just try to... One mantra. That's not very much to ask, is it? It only takes like 10 or 15 seconds. There's not much to ask. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Well done, mind. Well, we went through that earlier on. And they say, well, that wasn't too bad. Come on, we can do one more, I think. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One by one like that. Steps, baby steps. Burjan calls it baby steps. Learning to chant. Prabhupada said, just hear the name. Boy said, but Prabhupada, it's difficult to control the wandering mind. Prabhupada said, what's the use of controlling the mind? You have to chant and hear, that's all. What is the question of mind? Quite straight. Pretty easy. Just hear and chant. Sounds easy, and it's a fact, but it's not so easy sometimes, all the time. But if you can do that, what's the question of the mind? Just hear and chant. The mind's automatically controlled. However, it is a bit of encouragement from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. It is impossible for the jiva to single-handedly avoid and overcome the illusion of distraction. Impossible. By the mercy of the Lord, however, this is accomplished with ease. Therefore, it is essential, we're back to this realization that we need help. It is essential to fervently beg for the Lord's grace with great humility. This is the jiva's only means of salvation. We can give an example. When Mother Yasoda was trying to tie up baby Krishna, she tried very hard, every way she could, but it wasn't enough. We can try all the mechanical methods we can know and do everything right, but ultimately it depends on the mercy of Krishna. We have to pray for that mercy. Prabhupada, no. So this is again part of the process, but we won't go further than the process today, we haven't got time. Prabhupada, no. They may chant. Although anyone can chant, but they must understand the chanting process. That will be more effective. Follow the process. That they must know. Chanting is open. Anyone can chant, but they must know it. We hear sometimes there are no hard and fast rules for chanting the holy name. So. And we'll hear about that in a minute. Anyone can chant, but they must know it. That if I chant the proper process, it will be effective. So it's good to know what the process is. Same with everything. We have to know the process to achieve the result. Prabhupada, offenseless, he must be properly initiated. It does not mean that he should not be initiated in chant. That is not the idea. You can, in other words, Prabhupada said anyone can chant, but if you want to become offenseless, if we want to reach Shuddhanam, you have to be initiated. Anyone can chant and get free from sinful reactions even, up to a point. You can get a better material situation, up to a point. But to attain the highest perfection, one must be initiated. Either you are a grihastha or sannyasi or brahmachari. Not that without being initiated you'll whimsically chant. No, there's another side to this. It's the process. Initiation just not just a ceremony. It means following the instruction. Initiation is not just a name. It means we've accepted the instruction as our life and soul. That instruction has been, as I probably said, the instruction of my spiritual master is all that matters to me. That's what sustained it. The instruction. So when we take that as our life and soul, that's really being initiated. Not that without being initiated you'll whimsically chant, or chant in your own way, offensively, whimsically, this way, that way, and the effect will be the same. No, you must be initiated. Ado Guru Rashvayomi. You must accept the Guru. That means accepting the instruction, not just a ritual. When chanting the Hare Krishna mantra in the beginning, one may commit many offences, which are called Namabhas, Namaparana. In this stage, there is no possibility of achieving perfect love of Krishna by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Therefore, one must chant a Maha Mantra. I think we read that already. Yeah, we've read this one. Therefore, one must strictly chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra 24 hours daily. One may have other duties to perform under the direction of the spiritual master. He must first abide by the spiritual master's order to chant a certain number of rounds. In our Krishna conscious movement, we have recommended the neophyte chant at least 16 rounds. This chanting of 16 rounds is absolutely necessary if one wants to remember Krishna and not forget him. Of all the regulated principles of devotional service, the spiritual master's order to chant at least 16 rounds is most essential. So if we've fallen away from it or not doing it, just think about this. Pray for the strength, the inspiration, the mercy that we can chant those rounds. And at least that's a start. You have to have a foundation, and we have to build on the foundation. You can't live in a foundation. That's the foundation. Try to build on it. Try to chant attentively. Try to chant clearly. Try to chant nicely with respect. In other words, true humility means to develop a taste for chanting. This is a roundabout way of saying it. Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj. And to become a true servant of the holy name. Service to Guru and the Vaishnavas is the gateway through which we develop such taste. Very important point. Service to Guru and the Vaishnavas is the gateway through which we develop such taste. Give up duplicity. I am a servant of Guru and Krishna. Show compassion to others. Simple serving the master devotees with love and devotion. Our taste for chanting the holy name will increase and we will be qualified to chant the holy name. So now another angle is coming in. It's not just about the chanting itself, it's rendering service, especially to the devotees. That's the first thing we read today, serving the devotees and chanting the name. One will very quickly attain love of God. So serving the devotees is very important because then Krishna removes the taste for other things and the taste for chanting will evolve. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has recommended that everyone chant the Hare Krishna mantra just to cleanse the dust from the heart. If the dust of the heart is cleansed away, then one can actually understand the importance of the holy name. In the meantime, we have to hear from those who are pure. And if we have faith and if we're determined, then we chant, and that will gradually come. For persons who are not inclined to clean the dust from the heart and want to keep things as they are, it is not possible to derive the transcendental result of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. That applies to most of us, really. One should therefore be encouraged to develop his service attitude toward the Lord, because this will help him to chant without any offense. And so, under the guidance of a spiritual master, the disciples trained simultaneously to render service at the same time to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. As soon as one develops his spontaneous service attitude, so this is the first thing that usually comes, is spontaneous service attitude. He can immediately understand the transcendental nature of the holy name of the Maha Mantra. There's a nice prayer. Dasa paradayena hridayena pase Vipakari Mahaprabhu Majina Marase. These are just some prayers which we could say if you want. O Mahaprabhu, please be merciful to me, so that the 10 offences never touch my heart, and I can always remain absorbed in the rasa of the holy name. That's Haridas Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's quoting. One should be very humble and meek to offer one's desires and chant prayers composed in glorification of the holy name, which is Ai Moktakala Rupastyamanam Nivritatashirupakiham. One should chant such prayers to become free from offences at the lotus feet of the holy name. And this is the last one we showed today. Simply our prayer should be, my dear Krishna, please remind me to always chant your holy name. Please do not put me into forgetfulness. You are sitting within me as the Super Soul, so you can put me into forgetfulness or into remembering you. So please, do not put me into forgetfulness. Please always remind me to chant. Even you send me into the hell, it doesn't matter. Just so long I can always chant Hare Krishna. That was a letter to Dave and Anupur way back in 68 from Prabhupada. Some or another always chant Hare Krishna. And again, it's by the Lord's mercy to remind us to chant. We have to appeal to Him, please have mercy. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So any questions, please? Comments or questions? There's unlimited other things. There are just a few. Any questions? Yes. Roshan. When we're new, we have taste. Interesting point, yeah. It's a kind of a taste, it's a relief. It's kind of a relief when you first come. And it's all new, it's fresh. And I think the same principle applies to many things, you know. You kind of get a bit familiar with it after a while. But in our line, in our movement, it shouldn't be like that. I mean, with material things, if you know, when you first hear a new music record, it's like really enlivening. You get bored with it after a while. Now, that's not the case with the Maha Mantra. What happens with here is not so much getting bored. I mean, maybe some people may think like that. But it's actually we lose the taste. And why do we lose the taste? Offences is a major issue. Now, what are offences? Now, we've only heard a few of them. There's Vaishnava Aparad, there's Nama Aparad, there's Sagar Aparad, there's Jiva Aparad. Nama Aparad. Dhamma Aparad. Those Dhamma Aparads. Is that what it means? Dhamma Aparads. So many different types of aparad, isn't it? Offences are coming. We're loose. We become loose. We associate loosely. We become loose in our sadhana. It's a test. You get a little taste when you first come. Perhaps it's not everyone, I'm not saying so, but many devotees have said the same thing. That you feel like really, wow, you're flying in this sky somewhere back to Godhead real quick. And Hare Krishna is like, everyone should just bathe in the nectar of chanting. There's some taste there. It's like a child getting a new toy. And it's not a new toy, it's the oldest reality, but it feels like that sometimes in the beginning. It's just fantastic. If you ever watched that movie of Prabhupada, not with Prabhupada actually, it was devotees in Second Avenue in 1966, and some television reporters, and they were all like innocent kids, you know. Well, we chant Hare Krishna, and we see the gopis, they're dancing with us. You know, he's going on like this in the interview, you know. Well, in the material world, everyone's like, thinking high and acting low. And we're acting high. No, we're not. We're thinking high and acting low. They don't know. They're kind of like so innocent, like kids, And it's like that, we're like kids. We were kids back then just looking for the bliss. A ragtag band of transcendentalists. There was Vishnu Johnny, the ragtag yogi, giving up drinking and smoking stogies. You have to listen to that song, it's far out. Actually, it's related to what this is, actually, if you listen. Mangalananda. Looking for the bliss. We come looking for the bliss. The bliss is not so easy as it sounds. You get a little taste, Krishna gives you the taste. It's like if you didn't get the taste in the beginning, you would never start. Right? You wouldn't start. You would never do it. You get a taste, you get a sample there. But there's the process, we have to take the process. We're very careful. And that's why association is so important. Good association. Association that takes us away from Krishna is not good. And so many distractions are there. That's why Prabhupada gave us a regulated program. Isn't it? We may not be on that level of love realization, but the regulated program keeps us protected. I know but you get a taste for other things at the same time, said here. In the beginning, things happen quick. Suddenly, stop eating meat, stop liquor, stop drinking, stop intoxicants, stop gambling, stop illicit sex. Big jump. Big jump. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So it's a big change. But you can't stay still in Krishna consciousness. It doesn't work the sun. You have to follow the sun. So you have to go forward. This is a movement, meant to move. We also have to go forward. You have to be careful. The offenses knock out the taste, and knock us back. Cultivating, immediately. It's like if you ever put ghee on a fire, the fire goes down. It goes down. But after a few seconds, boom, it blazes up. So it's like you're putting out that suddenly. And so it's like, wow, fantastic. But then, it's almost like, it's like a test also, but material desires will come up again, temptation, boom, boom, boom. And it's up to us how we relate to them. In association of devotees, we really want mind and confidence. So many things are important to try to move forward from this stage of whatever it is, whether it's inattention, whether it's offensively to this one and that one, different types of offenses, whether it's laziness, whatever it may be, other motivations we have, they're hiding, they're within us, they're all within us. And it's not just on the surface. In the beginning you clean the surface. But pure devotional service means right down to the root. So then those roots, if we're not careful, if we're inattentive in our chanting, those roots of material desire are still there. They'll grow up. And we may start to embrace them again, and they become cloudy again. And we won't be tasting a pure name. So it's a test. What else is it? What else may cause us to lose the taste? Lord Chaitanya said, I have no taste because of offenses. He says that. What else? So you have that we may not accept. If we think we're not offensive, we're definitely offensive. We're definitely offensive. Some way or another, you have to see what that is. You have to be a little bit, serious to see that there's, maybe in the beginning we don't see it. It's underground or what. Unseen. Aparupta, it's not seen. Then it will come to the surface quickly. Krishna wants to remove all of these material things. When we chant, they come to the surface. Prabhupada gives an example when you make ghee, all the dirt comes out, all the sediments and stuff come out, boiling the milk. So it happens quickly with the devotees when we chant it. And sometimes these things can disturb us also. The awakening or the uprising of material attachments and desires may come up because they're there in our subconsciousness. The pure chanting, we've already gone through all of that. In the beginning, we're just chanting. We're not chanting offensively or this or that. We're just chanting because it's things we're doing. We love it. In the beginning, it's just, wow, this is wonderful, like a new toy. But then, we've got to get down to the ground. We've got to get to the root out. What else? Anything else?
When you give up smoking, drinking coffee, then there's like a withdrawal syndrome.
When you give up smoking or taking caffeine, then there are withdrawal symptoms. But then once you get over the withdrawal symptoms, then you go back to your normal condition. So,
yeah, I think that's quite a common experience. I don't know exactly because I never had that experience particularly, but I guess that happens. Immediately you may feel relief when you stop it, because the point is you do feel some real taste when you stop these things in devotional service and start chanting. So then they'll withdraw symptoms or whatever. Definitely there is. There, long years, how many lifetimes we don't know. We've been indulging in so many things, and that kind of strong pull may come back again. But the fact, if you don't water it, if you don't feed it, Prabhupada said, if you want to get rid of an unwanted guest, you don't feed them. And that's how we get rid of the devotees here. Is that how we do it? We don't feed them. They won't stay long. None of us would. But we said this morning, if you don't pay them, they won't continue. They won't stay. So don't feed these desires. That's the point. It's we're just not very strong. So association with devotees is very important. Anything else?
What can you say to go toward chanting instead of chanting in the mind? They don't sound original.
Was that, what do we say about those who are chanting in the mind? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
And they don't speak loud, they don't chant loud? Well, I could later on in this presentation there's a discussion about that. The holy name is not like something which belongs to us exactly. The holy name is Krishna. But at the same time, when we chant the holy name of the Lord, although Krishna is present there, he's not necessarily going to reveal himself. If you take medicine, sometimes you take a capsule. In a capsule, the medicine is not the capsule which is the medicine. The capsule carries the medicine. The medicine's inside. You have to take the capsule as well, but it's the medicine which is the real thing. So we may chant, but the holy name in the mind is sometimes recommended as the best process. But the holy name doesn't need to reveal himself to you. It's not automatic. It depends on the concept. It depends on us, our attitude. So if one receives the Spirit of the holy name from a bona fide servant of the holy name, one follows the process they give us. If the spiritual master, if he's bona fide, says you must chant in the mind, you chant in the mind. If the spiritual master says chant loud, you chant loud. And if you don't follow that process, the holy name will not reveal himself. You may have heard others say you should do this, this and this, but that's against the holy name's will. You have to follow the instruction. Let me see if I can find a little bit more on that. I don't know if I put it on here or not. I'll read a few. Here we go. Mantras bear fruit according to the conception and instructions coming from the Guru to his disciple. If the Guru instructs the disciple to chant japa loudly, then by doing that he will attain perfection in his mantra chanting. I don't think I've got the ones. I don't think I put the others, but there's many quotes where Prabhupada said, Haridas Thakur was chanting loud, my Guru Maharaj was chanting loud, I was chanting loud, you should also chant loud. So it depends. It's like everything, it's like we're not chanting for ourselves, we're chanting for pleasing Krishna. So we have to chant according to the will of Krishna, not according to our own whim. I like chanting in the mind. What does that mean? Does Krishna like it? That's what counts. I like chanting in my mind, even though my Guru Maharaj said not to do it, or said better you chant loud. How does that work? It doesn't work. So following the process, if you do want to do that, then you ask your spiritual master. You don't whimsically do it. But the general principle is that the process is given for serving the name, which will please the name, given by those who are pure devotees. To receive the directive from them. We don't criticize others, they may have received a different instruction. But here we see Srila Prabhupada strongly emphasizing loud chanting of God. It doesn't mean when you're chanting japa, it's not kirtan, it's japa. It doesn't mean when you chant japa, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Did you hear my chanting, Prabhu? Why are you not chanting loudly?
Maharaj is not a disturbance of the public.
Yeah, probably. You imagine if everybody was chanting like that. And it does sometimes get... One starts chanting louder, the next one chanting louder, and then they chant, backward, they keep increasing the volume, until it's like, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna. If you want to do that, go in the mountains somewhere. Somewhere. And don't disturb the neighbours, please, doing it either. The Prabhupada writes, he said, it should be loud enough to hear yourself. And if someone else is sat right next to you, they should also be able to hear it. It doesn't mean, you have to holler the name. But the sound should be there. We chant Vachaka Japa. Definitely Upamsa Japa and Manasika Japa are highly recommended. But according to the time, place, circumstance, according to the stage of advancement, according to the instruction of the Guru. At our stage, Vachaka Japa, that means with a sound, is to be chanted. And you'll see some devotees are not making a sound, that's their choice. Krishna knows what their motive is, it's not our business to criticize. But Prabhupada said that we should chant verbally, with sound. That's all. So we follow that, that's the best thing. Sometimes, you may find yourself kind of like just suddenly going into yourself, but the general principle is chant audibly. Anything else? Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. I would like to ask you, why religion has a materialistic tendency?
Why are what?
Why religion has materialistic tendencies?
Materialistic?
Tendencies.
Agency?
Tendency.
They may have agencies also. We do. Materialistic tendencies. It's not that religion has a material tendency. People have a tendency, material tendency. So they may receive a religion which will help to gradually release them from the material tendency. That's the idea. When we say receive a religion, let's put it a little bit more scientifically. A process, which may be called a religion, but they receive a process. Coming eventually, originally from God. It's just like you have well, you mentioned earlier on, for instance, a drug addict. They receive a process to gradually become freed of drug addiction. It may not be boom like that, maybe a little bit difficult. You cut, because as you said, the tenses are so strong that you can't, the urge comes heavy after a while. You can't resist it. So people have material tendencies. I always do. That's why we're in the material world. So it's a gradual process of rectifying, renovating our consciousness. So step by step, there's the two paths. of elevation, nivritti, pravritti. So most people are not ready for the nivritti. That means detachment from all these things, cutting it off. Most people are on the pravritti path. So all religions have guidelines, restrictions. It's not stopping, it's regulating, restricting those activities, those material tendencies, to a certain time, place, and circumstance or quantity. Restricting. It's like, it's like you're a cigarette addict. You cut down, you don't necessarily cut out. You cut down, you're smoking. How many cigarettes do you smoke a day, for instance? How many do you smoke? How many is that? How many, where we got here? Vishwambar, how many do you smoke a day, cigarettes? Oh, you're not very exciting. How many cigarettes do you smoke a day? How many cigarettes do you smoke a day? Huh? What do you say? I can't hear what you're saying. You're smoking too many cigarettes, you can't hear what you're saying. What do you say?
10 times in my whole life.
10 times in his whole life he smoked a cigarette, my goodness. And he's cut down from 10 times in his life. Pretty good. How many cigarettes do you smoke?
I used to be a heavy smoker, and then I quit last 2018. But I used to smoke a day 10 sticks of Winston Lights.
10.
But I quit smoking last 2018.
28 days. That's pretty good. 10 sticks. Now, any rise on 10? Any higher offers? Anyone more? Yeah? How many?
For 2 years, I smoked 2 packs a day.
How many's in a pack? 20? 20 in a pack? 40 a day. That's a big rise here. 40 a day. Wow, congratulations to Mahendra Prabhu. The champion cigarette smoker here. This is his secret. This is his secret for his devotion. Well, that's not so uncommon, I'll tell you. I mean, it's not, obviously the majority of people are not doing that, but it is very common, even more than that. How much do you pay for a packet of those things?
Before it used to be 20 pesos.
How much is it now?
100.
100 pesos? 100 pesos? Hey, come on. You got to know what's going on in this world. 100 pesos, that's 200. Now, people say they've got no money and they spend 200 pesos a day on cigarettes. Can you believe it? 200 pesos a day on cigarettes. That works out every week, 1,500 pesos. That comes to 16,000 pesos a year just on cigarettes. And that doesn't include your medical bill. It doesn't include the risk factor and many other things too. Can you imagine? So you generally, and of course you can, if you have strong willpower, if you have good association, and if you're not too addicted, you can give up. But for most people, it's a process of gradual. So most people are not on the Nivritti path, they're on the Pravritti path. They can't just give up like that. Krishna consciousness it is. It can be given up immediately and never taken up again. The power of Krishna, if we allow the power to come and flow, we can give up all these things on the spot. When people met Prabhupada, they gave up on the spot. On the spot. Taking drugs, eating meat, illicit sex, on the spot. It's possible. But for most people, they don't want. It's like Prabhupada said. Those who don't want to change the heart, then service has to be there. So even that they don't know what service is because they don't know how to serve God. They know that God is great and we're meant to serve Him. How to serve Him? Their service is on a very materialistic platform generally. So there's a way of doing that. So the scriptures, the Bible, Quran, they all give various directions. They may have watered down, I don't know. Not our business to get into that. Maybe, maybe not. But that's the tendency is to water them down also. So they're not actually getting the proper, they're only getting a bit of it. But to gradually reduce this tendency for materialism. This tendency for whatever it is, elevation to heaven or enjoying your senses, including meat eating, intoxicants, illicit sex, all these things, to gradually reduce them down. Why do they have fast days? Why do they have Ramadan? Why do they have festivals when they are vegetarians? Why? It's to gradually reduce The tendencies like this, you see. So they're there for gradual reduction, but that isn't a justification. Therefore, because Jesus, ate fish once, or distributed fish, there was nothing else to do. But it wasn't like a daily affair. We tend to take it, to the extreme. Or like in the Vedas, there are standards for those who don't want to give or can't give up eating meat, where you can kill an animal under a certain condition and offer it. And then people, that's why Buddhism was started, right? Because most of the Hindus were taking advantage. They were just eating meat in the name of the Vedas. So Lord Buddha said, forget the Vedas. Forget it. It's wrong. Stop eating meat. I mean, he's very powerful, avatar of Godhead. So he was able to stop people and form a new so-called religion to stop. It's based on ahimsa, but even the Buddhists don't follow anymore. Very few. They smoke, they drink sometimes, they take intoxicants, they eat meat, maybe not illicit sex, but they do so many things. They're watered down. So religion's there, but religion's there is supposed to lead us towards the perfect platform, not justify our imperfectness, but to rather bring us from the imperfect to the perfect. Because people are very attached to material life in this world, so it's there to gradually try to bring them out of it, step by step by step. Reduce from 40 to 30, okay? Not a big difference. And then after a while, when you're stabilized there, we're going up. 4 rounds, 8 rounds, 12 rounds, 16 rounds. They're going down on the other side. 40 cigarettes a day, 30 cigarettes a day, 20 cigarettes a day, 10 cigarettes a day, 5 a day, 3 a day, 1 a day. I don't know if that helps at all in giving up this habit. I don't know. It's still like, the taste or the traction is there. Same with decaf coffee. It's better than calf coffee. But it still is a taste for that. The taste remains. Your taste remains. You still like the taste, right? So there's not a taste for Krishna consciousness. It's better, at least for those who are addicted. Of course it is. But it's not really an alternative. Maybe for a while, but not a real one. Same with this meat, this veggie meat. I'm sure you all eat veggie meat, is it? I see it quite often here in the Philippines. Pretty gross stuff. Huh?
Veggie chicken, veggie hot
I know, it's pretty gross stuff. Yeah. I feel really, my stomach curls when I see this stuff. It's an attachment to something unfavorable for devotional service. It's okay for meat eaters, but for practicing devotees, we should try to avoid it. I'm not saying, you're condemned if you do, but we should realize it's not good. It's good for preaching, maybe. But if we want to advance, then these type of things are not really so favorable. If you can't, you can't. So what to do? Or you have to because of a family or social or something. Try to avoid as much as we can. Watering down. It's another form of watering down. Then the next thing is the 3 regulated principles. Not 4, 3. And then it'll be 2, 3, 1. Anyway, try your best. Try to follow something at least. Anyway, even if you can't follow anything, just chant Hare Krishna. Oh, Prabhu, and then even if you can't chant, just chant when you like, whenever you can. Anyway, it was nice chanting Hare Krishna, I remember that. I sat in the pub, talking about the good old days. Give an inch, mind takes a mile. The tendency in Kali Yuga. Tendency to go down. Yeah.
There's one devotee, Prabhupada disciple, is a model. I don't know if you remember the story.
Which is a model from Scandinavia, I believe. And she used to be addicted to smoking. She would also smoke 1 to 2 packets.
Oh, model, you mean a lady model?
Yeah, a model. She's a devotee, a disciple of Prabhupada. And while she was doing all her modeling shoots, during her break, she would smoke a cigarette. And then, because of association with devotees, during her smoke breaks, she would chant a round of japa instead.
How did she get the association of devotees?
That's what I don't remember. But by changing this habit, instead of smoking a cigarette, she would chant around. Then gradually she gave up smoking.
Nice one.
Yeah.
That's I know her very well. She was in France. She was married to in the 70s to a national secretary. She's in LA now. Yeah, a very famous model from Scandinavia. Very famous. I've forgotten her name now. Shruti something else. Can't remember. Shruti something. Yeah, replacing it. You have to replace something. See, the thing is, when you replace it with something which looks the same, the image can still stay in your heart. It's not so easy. The taste may be reduced, so there's some kind of less sinful reaction, but the image stays in your mind, so the attachment to that, thing, whatever it is. So replacing it, that's the whole process of devotional service, isn't it? And even in, addictions, they replace, say for instance, drugs with something else, another kind. Or they replace the addiction with coffee, and you try with oranges or something which has some other kind of stimulation which is not intoxicant. Something or other. So in their case, it's a real replacement. It's a replacement with, the same with offences. Instead of just no offences, we replace that with positive service towards the devotees or glories of the scripture or whatever. So replacing that with chanting the holy name during your break instead of a cigarette, you focus on. You may in the beginning say, "This is my cigarette. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama." Each Hare Krishna is a puff in, and each Hare Rama is a puff out. In the beginning maybe, I don't know, but whatever it is, some or other, step by step. Replace it with something. Anything else? Huh? There's two, 1, 2. Huh? During Bhagavatam class.
Yeah, during Bhagavatam class, they do chanting. So is it offense, doing offense to the Bhagavatam or to the mantra?
They do? Who are they? What are they doing during the Bhagavatam class? They're chanting?
Yeah.
What, kirtan or what?
No.
Really? They're chanting Japamala during kirtan. I mean in the class itself or outside? In the class. I've seen it. I've seen senior devotees do it also.
Yes.
I may have been guilty myself. We never ever did that during Prabhupada's time. Never. In fact, as in the room Prabhupada one time, somebody was knitting. The mother of a devotee was knitting. And Prabhupada said, "Don't do that now, pay attention." Now we see in many temples they're cutting vegetables, making garlands, time, place and circumstance. But chanting japa, I don't know how you can do that, other than mechanically finishing a round. I don't know how you can do that and listen to the class. It sounds very difficult to me. Huh?
So maybe they just want the attendance sheet.
Oh, they want the name on the attendance sheet, and finish their rounds during class. Could be. We're not here to criticize anyone, so we can't say the reason for the senior devotees for doing that. Maybe other factors. We see in Vrindavan, the 24-hour kirtan, they're doing that. In Vrindavan. The 24-hour kirtan party during class, chant japa. Now their justification for that, though a lot of devotees bring it up, is that it's a kanda kirtan. So japa they count as kirtan also, so it has to carry on in the temple room during class. 24-hour kirtan. So you could say that's a justification there, but that doesn't mean everyone's in the same position as that. So generally speaking, I would say almost for certain, if Srila Prabhupada was sitting on his Vyasasana giving class, and you're sat in front of him with your hand in your bead bag and you're definitely chanting japa, I never saw that during Prabhupada's time. Never. But I only saw what I saw. I'm not saying it didn't happen. But I doubt very much whether Prabhupada would say, keep chanting. He would say always listen carefully to the class. So I'm not going to say, because I know some senior devotees and very wonderful senior devotees are sometimes seen doing that during Bhagavatam class. But in general, at least for the likes of ourselves, who aren't attended to anything, but always please, even if you send me to the hell, please remind me to chant your holy names. A devotee is chanting for the pleasure of Krishna, not exactly for their own taste. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, one of the key statements in our movement, in his commentary on Vyavasya Apnikavadiyataya Kurunandana, he describes that the instruction of my spiritual master is my sadhana and my sadhya. That means my practice and my goal. The instruction. Whether I like it or not, whether I'm happy or not, whether I'm going to be sent to hell or not, it doesn't matter to me. All that matters to me is the instruction of my spiritual master. So Krishna's testing our sincerity. You know, if it's just about taste, that's the material conception, basically. Krishna wants us to rise to the unalloyed, unconditional stage of devotional service, and hankering hankering for that stage, hankering for the mood of the pure unalloyed devotees is the price, this lolium is the price. There are other prices too, but that's the price to achieve that stage. Beyond and above the imagination of conditional devotees or mundane religionists or impersonalists or anyone else. Krishna wants you and all of us to come to that level of pure unalloyed devotion without any demand. You may crush me in your embrace or not make me broken-hearted by not being present before me. You're completely free to do anything in life, but you're always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. He wants us to come to the unconditional stage. The taste will come automatically when we hanker for that. Not just hankering for the taste, but to actually come to pure devotional service. Taste will come automatically. I'll tell you another thing, which I believe is, I hope is bona fide, in terms of the result, is that when you give Krishna consciousness to others, you may not be asking for taste, but when Krishna sees you giving Krishna consciousness to others, he is so pleased and so encouraged, in one sense, that he gives a taste. You're not doing it for taste. You're doing it out of duty to your Guru Dev, or because you believe this is necessary, or it's beneficial, or it's pleasing to Krishna, whatever. But then Krishna gives a taste. There's no taste. There's preaching Krishna consciousness is such a taste. Giving it to others. You're not asking, you're not even thinking about the taste. It comes automatically. Automatically. You don't have to think, I want a taste, otherwise I'm not going to preach. It's the other way around. I'm going to preach taste or no taste. Or whatever we can do. So he wants us to come to that unconditional practice. But to desire that taste which you had in the beginning or whatever, it's not wrong. It just may not be, complete, that's all. You have to desire pure devotional service eventually. In the beginning, I remember one devotee, Punyatama, for a wonderful devotee, our top book distributor in England. He would go out every day and become, most days he was top. His practices, sadhana, were very weak, very poor. And one day he asked Trivikram Swami, who was giving class in London, I don't understand it, Maharaj. I've got perhaps the worst sadhana in the temple, Maharaj. Yet I do the most books every day. I don't understand it. So Maharaj said, what would you do if you didn't do the most books? Oh, why do you get, well, I get the Maha every day. So give me the Maha Prasadam in the morning. I like that. What would you do if you weren't the top book distributor? He thought for a minute, he said, I'd go away. I wouldn't stay. His motivation was to be named, to get the Maha Prasadam, like that. Not necessarily the only motivation, but the primary ones. And the fact that sometimes Krishna does that too. But in your case, the question of you have that taste and you're hankering for it again. So that should be the inspiration, the initiative for us to really deserve that taste, to sincerely pray for that taste, or let's say that which resulted in the taste, that caused the taste, not resulted, caused the taste. Pray for that pure devotional service. Pray that, whatever, the higher taste. If you feel like that, then do. Pray that we can again be situated in a way that we're absorbed in that activity from which we feel the higher taste. Increasing your hankering, increasing your determination, increasing your sincerity, increasing your devotion. Well, I guess we better finish there. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hari Nam Sankirtan ki jai. Now it's time to eat and sleep ki jai. No time for japa, I'm afraid. I'm busy. I'm busy on the internet. I got too many things to do. Good excuse. We don't realize this is the most important thing in our lives. Kirtan, japa, these are the most important things in our lives in one sense. We forget that. We think we've got more important things to do. We're not quite ready to, let's say, to follow that or apply that maybe. But ultimately we have to come to that point. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go Premanande.